Hi and welcome to Sincerely Speaking. I'm Marcy Amara. I'm so glad you're here. I know there's a million other things you could be doing, so I don't take lightly the fact that you chose to be in here today. And I am particularly excited about what I will be sharing with you today. But before we dive in, I just wanted to take a second to reintroduce myself in case we've never had the opportunity to chat face to face, or in case you've never heard explicitly what it is that I do. I am a speaking and leadership coach, which means two things for you. First, I will help you reach the next level of leadership so that you are on track to achieve your goals personally, financially, business-wise, in terms of your brand, your cause, whatever it is that is important to you. I'm here to help you develop the leadership, the self-leadership that is needed in order to not just get started, but complete your goals and achieve the next level. The other thing that I do is I help you liberate your voice, refine your message so that you can connect directly and clearly with the right people for your message, so that you can build a community around you, a tribe, a pack that you can lead to the next level, because now you're in the space to do that since you developed your leadership. So if any of that sounds like you're in the right place. Also, I make it a point to bring to you positive, empowering, motivational presentations that don't stay at the motivation level. I also bring in the tactics and the strategies so you can start implementing right after you listen, so that you can start seeing that momentum, that progression moving forward, and start realizing that you are in fact capable of reaching that level of dream life that you've been thinking about and wondering whether it's possible for you. Well, I'm here to tell you that it is. And I'm here also to bring you the tools to get there. So without further ado, let me tell you a little bit about what you're about to listen to today. So last year, I put together this event called Claim Your Next Level, in which we gathered a bunch of amazing experts and we talked about how do you get out of stuck and move in the direction of your dreams? How do you get started if you have had this amazing calling in your heart and you know you get to do something bigger, stronger, more purposeful, more powerful, to change not just your life, but the life of those people around you, to create something that can eventually transform the world because you stepped up and did what you know you were meant to do. And one of my favorite interviews from that event is my interview with IV Marsh. If you've never heard IV speak, you are in for a treat. He walks us through how to elevate our mind, how to elevate our spiritual lives, and how to create a legacy for ourselves, for our children, for all our descendants that goes beyond the financial. So get ready for a very powerful, very action-packed conversation that is going to help you move towards that next level. I'll see you after the interview. All right. So as we start gathering together to come back to our event and our next speaker, I just wanted to take a few moments to thank you again for being part of this project. It is a project that is very near and dear to my heart and something that I know is going to impact a lot of people positively. There's so much going on in the world. There is so much transition and flux and uncertainty that I just thought it would be timely to put together an event in which we can get the tools, the encouragement, and the inspiration to go from unseen to legendary, to really step into that passion and that dream that has been living inside of us, but that for whatever reason, we haven't had the courage, the strength, or the tools to step forward and step into that next level of joy, fulfillment, and success. I believe that as we work to become the people we were meant to be, the people we were designed to be, we also rise everybody around us. We take them with us to another level of positivity and of hope. And as the world continues to be in flux, as everything continues to shift, as we go from one emergency or one crisis to another, it's important to understand that we, first of all, are not alone. And that second of all, there's so much inside of us that can help us start shifting, not just our life and our world, but the world of those people around us that we are in touch with, that are close to us, that bring us closer together, and that help us be who we were designed to be and do the things that we were designed to do. One of the things that I want to touch on before we bring Ivy up is that I believe part of what gets to be pulled out of us right now is our faith in the fact that we can change things, our faith in the fact that we were not placed on this planet to just be here, to occupy space. We were placed on this planet with a purpose. We were placed on this planet to fulfill a mission that was laid inside of our hearts. So as we have been facing all of these changes, as we have seen everything around us shift and move into uncertainty, like I said before, it's important to get back in touch with our design, with who we were created to be, and start stepping into that design and that greatness that lives inside of us, but that we might not have been living up to up until now. So I am really excited for you to continue listening to what our speakers have to share. And just to recap a little bit, with Wendy McKenna this morning, our first speaker, we talked about the importance of vision and of taking advantage of of those choice points that we face in our life to transform our lives and transform our leadership, so we can step into the space where we can be who we need to be in order to pursue our visions. Then we talked to Jay just now about starting over, and how starting over is not a negative thing. It's in fact a positive thing. It's amazing. It's a good thing to do. And as I am getting ready to bring Ivy up on the stage, I am very excited to hear what he is going to share with us. Ivy, there you are. Thank you for being with us today. Let me tell a little bit about you and how I came to know your work. We have a friend in common, Dave Horvath, and he will actually be part of this event later on today. And he had you on his Becoming Uncommon event a little bit back. And when I heard you talk about legacy and your vision of what a legacy is, I just knew that if you could be part of this event, you would have so much to offer and so much to bring. Since then, I've gotten more familiar with your work and everything that you do. I admire your determination, your dedication. I admire how you lift, especially men around you, to be who God created all of us to be, and to live in that space where we create a legacy, not necessarily in the way that most people think about, and we will talk more about that in a minute, but in the way that honors God and that honors who we are meant to be. So Ivy, I thank you so much for being part of of this event today and being with us this morning. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being willing to serve people and get great information out there. And you know what? Thank you for your smile and your joy today. You are the highest energy person I've ever been on Zoom with. So thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. I believe, and this is completely off topic, but I believe that God gives each of us with something that is instantaneous that we can share with people right away. And I feel blessed that he gave me a smile that most people connect with. So I make it a point to smile as much as I can. So I would love to start by just having you share a little bit of how you came to the space where you do what you do, where you share with people how to be their best selves, how to become is the word that you use often. So what was your journey like? How did you get to this space?
Well, in 4 months, I'll be 50. So it's been a slow burn for sure. It did not happen overnight. I spent so a lot of years, not a few years in the military, became a police officer, did all of that stuff, played college football, was very much in a Southern world. God was not part of my equation at all. Helping people improve their lives was not really in my vision at all. And then my wife and Benet and I, we had children, and we embarked on our spiritual journey. And I saw a lot of things, which nobody is shocked by this, but I saw a lot of things wrong with the system, the criminal justice system. I saw a lot of things wrong in a bunch of different just organizational areas. And we just made a decision that we were going to do the best that we could to provide a space, a faith family where people could come regardless of what they believed, thought, assumed about God, about his people, about his way of doing life, and really tried to focus not on Christianity. I have a pretty high disdain for American Christianity. We believe in the kingdom of God, not the Christianity of the South or honestly America. And so we try to perpetuate that. And then God, because we do have some gifts, like you said, that we should be ready to use at any point. And we believe that our greatest gift is to be able to show people what's possible. That if you really tap into who you were created to be, you can live life to the fullest now. That's not at some point later. You can impact everybody that you come in contact with in a positive way. You can become the man, the woman that you're created to be. And if you happen to be married, we get pushback on this, but we believe you can have a honeymoon atmosphere, if not every day, for sure most days. Because we try to teach people, don't ever let your outside circumstances or outside pressure infiltrate your marriage, your home, your attitude, your being, because it's just not necessary. You have the power to overcome all of those things.
Absolutely. Now, I love that you just mentioned that don't let the outside circumstances, what's going on outside, determine who you get to be or how you get to show up, because that's one of the reasons that prompted this event. There's so much going on out there. There's so much uncertainty, there's so much flux, everything seems to be shifting right before our eyes, and it's a time when I think we have a huge choice to make between letting ourselves be carried by the circumstances and by everything that's happening, or stand firm on who we get to be, right? And that's one of the things that prompted this event. And one of the reasons why I'm so excited to talk to you during this event is because when I first heard you define legacy, I was just floored because I had never heard anybody explain it the way you did, and it makes so much sense to me. So could you walk us through a little bit how you define legacy and why it's so important for us to work on building a legacy?
Sure, absolutely. Legacy became a buzzword somewhere around 7 to 12 months ago, where everybody was like, leave a legacy, or they made shirts that said legacy and all this stuff. And I think that was the beginning of the understanding. I think that our creator, because he's everywhere, he knows everything, whether you're in journey with him or you're not, he's able to get the message into the world that he wants to start to perpetuate. And so legacy came on the scene because our creator thinks in terms of legacy. He thinks third, fourth, and fifth generation. That's how his decision-making process is done. We're all created in the image and likeness, so our decision process should be that way. And legacy is very different than inheritance. When people started talking about legacy, they were drawn to inheritance. Let me figure out how to make a lot of money. Let me figure out how to leverage certain kinds of insurance and investments to ensure, they would say this, that my legacy is perpetuated. Well, what they're actually talking about is an inheritance. And I think that should be extremely important. It's actually a part of it. But legacy, inheritance is tangible. It's money, it's property, it's stuff. Legacy is intangible. It's my ability to pour into you my wisdom to carry you into your next level faster. Like you should, if you're in a relationship with me, you shouldn't have to start at the zero I started. I should be able to elevate you to a platform where you launch from my highest platform and then you ascend to a greater height. But you carry that thought process with you. So when you're pouring into other people, they don't start at ground zero. They start where you started. And then because our creator thinks that way, there was this constant momentum with his people all the time. They didn't have to start over. Did they start over sometimes? Absolutely, because they did very unwise things, which is what we do. But if you can grasp a legacy philosophy, then the momentum in your family, the momentum in your friendships can grow exponentially over the years, where momentum can cover mistakes if they're not like tragic. Like you can like trip and fall, but because the momentum of legacy is so strong, you even fall forward. Like you gain ground in your failure because you're moving at such a fast rate.
Absolutely. What I think what impacted me the most in your definition of legacy is that it has nothing to do really with whether you're a parent or not, whether you're married or not, whether you have an immediate family with you or not. Because the way I understand your definition of legacy, as long as somebody is within my reach, I have a legacy to build, right? And then there's that ripple effect, because if I get to create a legacy for everybody around me, then those people around me get to see that they create a legacy as well. And it just continues to grow, right? And that's how we change the world, really, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and I'm not trying to open up a can of worms, because I know there's very different thought process in this, but there's a statement that, hey, everybody's a leader. I understand what they're trying to say, but I believe that's actually untrue. The more powerful statement, in my opinion, is everybody has influence, and we're influencing all the time. Like, that's a big deal. I want to be an influencer. Well, just so you know, you already are. You don't have to have 15K followers to be an influencer. You have influence. On average, every person on the planet has a minimum of influence to 10 people. So if you just think about that in the context of math, if I think legacy, and I know I have this influence, married, not single, not, doesn't matter, I'm a human being, then I affect change multiplied by 10 in mine. Well, those 10 people have an influence on 10. Well, now the multiplication begins to expand, and all it takes is a mental shift to begin to think legacy. And you're right, for sure your community's changed. For sure. Well, if I can change a community, I can change a city. If I can change a city, I can change a state. If I can change a state, I can change a country. And I know that may seem hard right now because our country is doing well, but not so well. But ultimately, ultimately, you can change the world, but it takes perseverance, determination, drive, discipline, all those things to keep that philosophy ahead of yourself.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of the people watching this event gravitated towards it because they recognize that they have something, a dream, a passion, something in them that they have not pursued for whatever reason. And they might be seeing everything that's happening. They might be seeing the clock tick, and they might be thinking, you know what? My time has passed. There's no way I can do this. Or on the other hand, they might just think, but wait, that's selfish, just to think about my passion or my dream or what I get to do. How do you respond to those people who are looking at years of quote unquote wasted space where they have not pursued their dreams or their passions?
Let's see. You have I hope you have two things going for you. If you're seasoned, I won't say you're old, I'll say you're seasoned. You have you have transformational knowledge on one side, you have experiential character on the other side, which gives you wisdom. Now listen, if you just got knowledge and it wasn't transformational, then you read that, you watched that for entertainment. It's up to you to make the knowledge you have transformational.
Yes.
If you have experiential character, but your character has not been changed by those experiences, then you just went to an event. The event becomes experiential character to you because you apply that. You take both of those, transformational knowledge, experiential character, and now I got the t-shirt. I earned the scars. I got the black eyes. I get it. It becomes wisdom. And with wisdom, even if you're 50, like even if I started today, like I decided with myself at 50, okay, I'm going to start living my dream. I don't want a job anymore. I want to monetize my dream. Okay. Well, I have a lot of wisdom to apply. Wisdom applied moves you a lot faster than like throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it sticks. Yeah. Like that's not wisdom. That's trial and error. You get wisdom from that. But once you have wisdom, man, you can start gaining ground fast. And just on average, you start when you're 50, you got a solid 30 years left. Like a solid 30. Tony Robbins, I watched a thing the other day that said, based on where we are now in healthcare, the ability to purchase different things outside of traditional healthcare, He was like,
Mm-hmm.
people living to 100 and 110 is extremely the norm in the next 5 years. So, okay, well, if that's the case, then I got 50 more. I got a whole nother lifetime to apply the wisdom, leave the legacy that I want. So I try to encourage people all the time, if you're seasoned, don't feel like you're behind the ball. I would say to you, you actually have the ball now and can score way more than somebody who's 25. Like, not to discredit the 25-year-old, but like, you get it done. And for people to say, but that feels self-serving. I'm promoting myself. I'm trying to become an influencer. I'm doing, and that just feels wrong. There is an entity in the atmosphere that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And I think one of the ways that happens is it talks you into false humility, which causes you to hide your gift. Everybody has a gift, and it's not meant to be hidden. It's meant to be shared. And you have massive capacity to impose influence and greatness on other people. And so that voice needs to get out. And I've coached in companies forever, and the question is always, how do I get promoted? Or somebody's not happy with how they're getting paid. I said, well, look, one thing you want to do is you want to start getting paid for your dream. You don't want a job, you want a dream. Like, you know what? I'm not ready to do that. I just need a raise. I'm like, okay, well, you need to stop worrying about what you're not getting paid and be more concerned about what you're not bringing to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Because momentum is gained at the table. And if I can bring massive value to the table, then that value will be matched by compensation at some point. And if it's not in my current organization, there'll be a headhunter that comes to find me because I know how to bring value to the table, and they'll hunt me down and they'll pay me for the value I bring.
Absolutely.
Does a lot.
No, but that's awesome. And I love how you talk about the acquired wisdom and how you can actually use that as part of your legacy and as part of what you bring to the table. Now, you mentioned something there near the end that I want us to talk about a little bit, if you're okay with that. And it's this idea of being or becoming, right? You talk a lot about becoming the man that you're supposed to be. Your church actually has something to do with becoming as well, right? So I want us to talk a little bit about how becoming, first of all, how do you get started on knowing who you get to become? And secondly, how do you tie that into your legacy?
Okay, great question. You're asking really good questions. Which is probably why you're good at this and you're going to make a lot of money doing this.
Thank you.
Most people set goals and they have a vision, they set a goal, and they try to develop a strategy to get me from here to there without ever, in my opinion, without ever asking this question. If I would like to make, let's say, 6 figures in 3 years. If you're out there and you're like, I'm killing 6 figures, and you're like, I want to make $1 million, I would say, great. Strategy and planning is important. And your last communicator, is it Jade?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? He said
Jade.
something that's profoundly connected to what I'm about to say. He said, listen, you need to figure out who you're trying to serve and then develop a strategy to do that. All right. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's profound wisdom. Everybody should do that. Go pay for Jade's class. I'm going to go do that. But you look out and you go, okay, I want to make $1 million. All right, well, now ask yourself this. Don't look at the strategy first. Ask yourself this question. What kind of person do I have to become that I could have $1 million, that it would move in my direction? Because if I try to stay in the same person that I am right now, develop a strategy to make me $1 million, I'll never, ever get there. I'll never, ever see $1 million. At best, 6 figures. So the process of becoming is understanding you are beautifully and wonderfully made. There are gifts and talents on the inside of you that are hidden and unlocked, and you have unbelievable potential, and you have a dream. You have this thing you want to obtain. Don't strategize it. work on self-transformation along the way to become the person that could be trusted with $1 million.
Absolutely.
That's why people who win the lottery go broke in a year.
Yeah.
They're the same person.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I had a similar experience, not to buy into your time, but I had a similar experience when I was overweight and I wanted to lose weight, right? So I was extremely overweight. I'm 5 feet tall and I weighed almost 200 pounds, right? And I was like, no, I need to lose weight. I need to get healthy. But I would lose a couple of pounds, gain them right back, lose a couple of pounds, gain them right back. It wasn't until I understood that I needed to be a different person. I needed to be the person who's healthy. I needed to be the person who eats well. I need to be the person who likes working out. It wasn't until I made that shift that I was able to take the weight off and keep it off, right? And I think that that kind of exemplifies what you're talking about so eloquently. If we are looking to create something different, but we remain the same person, then we don't have the skills or the trust or the ability to manage whatever comes next. And God is so faithful and so awesome. He's not going to give us something we can't handle, right? So when we become the person that can handle all these other things, then we're entrusted with it. And that feeds into our legacy, because then we are demonstrating to the people around us how to make that transformation, starting from the right space, which is the becoming, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of you. Like that's a big hurdle to make, where you change your belief system about something that gives you the ability to sustain behavior that helps you become something different. And so you did, honestly, one of the most difficult things in a human's life is to not just change my behavior, but I'm changing how I believe about these things. I believe working out is fun. and then it changes your behavior. And then you've actually become the person that you see yourself becoming. Great job. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So let's get a little bit more practical and tactical, if you don't mind. So when we are we're listening to everything you're saying, we're like, okay, Ivy, it makes sense. I need to focus on becoming and I want to create a legacy, but where the heck do I start? What is tactically, right? Like tactically, where can I start?
Okay, you have to be willing to first, the way that I did it was I deconstructed my belief system. Everybody has a boss. That's your belief operating system. And you are operating consciously and subconsciously from it all the time. So you need to employ the assistance of other people to challenge your belief system, to help you have a different perspective of life and what's available, what's possible, and then begin to reprogram your computer, for lack of a better term. Like you can't just reboot your system and hit the delete button. All that information is still there. So at best, what you can do is go in, deconstruct it, and then begin to reprogram it. One of the things that I have found most helpful in my life, and it doesn't slow me down. I'm still moving fast. I'm still trying to gain ground very quickly, but I've programmed myself to value patience. Because if you're gonna leave a legacy, legacy is built right now in my daily grind and what I do and how I think decisions. The legacy is being built right now, but it's not realized until way later. So some of the things that I've done in the last 10 years, I'm realizing now, and it's great. It's the greatest reward ever. However, I know decisions I'm making now, I'm not going to see for another 20. Like as the old saying goes, I'm sowing certain kinds of seed, and they're just not going to produce fruit for a little while. It's a very slow growing tree. And so you have to employ the value of patience with accompanied tenacity. Like it's not like, okay, I'm gonna be patient. No, patient is not passivity. Patience is my ability to endure the long-term fight, the long-term drive, knowing that at some point the reward will come.
Yes. And that is faith.
yeah. A lot of faith.
Yeah, because
Oh man.
I mean, you can call it whatever you want, right? You can call it trusting,
Yeah.
you can call it believing, you can call it whatever you want. But the reality of it is that what we're talking about are things that we might not even see the results in our lifetime. And that's part of the point, is that regardless of how long it might take, if we know it's a worthwhile outcome, then it's worth sowing the seed today and having the trust, the faith, the whatever you want to call it, to know that eventually something positive is going to come out of it, whether it's in our lifetime or not, right? And
Mhm.
that is, I think, a big part of what a legacy is. It's like it goes beyond us and it outlives us. And it's pretty much something that has, like I said before, that ripple effect, right? That continues to grow and expand as people continue to connect with it, right?
Mhm. I think that's what makes it difficult. I think that's why people gravitated to inheritance instead of legacy.
Yeah.
Inheritance very tangible. It's fairly easy. I'm not trying to make it like it's difficult, but it's easily done. Meaning it's
Yeah.
process, next right decision, do this, and you can see it growing. It is there. It is. Legacy though is at least 80,000 feet of a philosophy change. Like you change the way you're thinking. So people ask that, well, how do I do it? What's it look like? Well, you got to employ patience. You got to know, you got to be in for the long haul. You can't expect for your investment to give you a 12% return tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not happening. It will give you possibly an 80% return in 10 years or 20 years, or maybe you have passed away and people are realizing it. And so that's kind of how you have to live. But most people live for themselves. So I try to tell people the next practical thought process you need to change is, yeah, I value patience. I got it. Now, what's next? You need to think in the context of last name.
Mm-hmm.
First name is about me.
Mm.
IV wants to do X because IV likes to do X. But Marsh is my last name, and Marsh is an inclusive conversation. My last name is about us. My last name is about perpetuating legacy. And we all understand this because we see it and we buy their products. Rolls Royce, two last names.
Yep.
McDonald's, last name. Ford, last name. Prada, last
Yep.
name. Like I could go down the list. And we all think, oh, I'm just buying this cool thing because they marketed it well and I want that. Okay, that's cool. But I would rather you change your thinking because it'll help you to understand you're perpetuating someone's legacy. You're
Absolutely.
you're paying a family money so that their legacy is perpetuated. So I hardly ever this may be super dysfunctional, but I own it. I hardly ever wear clothes with a visual logo.
Mm.
If I'm going to wear clothes, they're going to have my logo on. They're going to have my last name on. It's not because I don't appreciate Nike. Okay, I appreciate Nike, Under Armour, whatever. But I think that way. I think, okay, I have a choice. I can perpetuate Under Armour's legacy or I can perpetuate mine. And I would just
Yes.
rather see it that way and go, if you see me, I'm going to have on a Becoming Man shirt, a Becoming One shirt, or we have Legacy Ranch here, which is our family crest. You'll see me wearing that.
That's awesome.
And really, that's pretty much the logos that I display. However,
That's
Marcy,
awesome.
if Under Armour wanted to pay me a crap ton of money, I would probably
Well, there you
wear them.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, before we wrap up, because we're coming up to the top of the hour, I
Yeah.
think I would be doing everybody a disservice if I didn't ask this one last thing. Now, you and Benet have an amazing ministry helping couples, and she is outstanding, and you guys together are doing amazing things. And as we're talking about legacy, it has felt up until now very much me-centered, right? Like I'm creating this legacy, I'm doing this thing. But let's talk a little bit as we close about how do we address this when we have a spouse, when there's other people in our lives that we get to think about and consider.
Woo. Marriage is a great thing. Benet and I love being married. We love to see other people's marriage be successful. One of the best things that we did to get in agreement and alignment about our legacy, our vision, the reason we're in the earth was we developed core values within our family, sold out to them. They were not like a good idea. They were not something flashy. They were legit things that we held in super high esteem. So for us, it's freedom, relationships, excellence, servanthood, honor, generosity, and power.
Awesome.
I don't think a person who is serious about leaving a legacy can do that without making your values in your family concrete. To say,
Yes.
This is who we are. This is what we're about. And the power of a husband and wife agreeing on those things and then agreeing on the end game. Honestly, I'm not really sure the gates of hell can stop you. Like it's a unified front, so powerful. Because the marriage is meant to show the glory of God, the glory of your creator. Like that's what it's meant to do. And so when you come together like that, you begin to do that, it is legitimately an unstoppable force. I'm not saying you don't have difficulties, but man, on the days I'm having a bad day, it just works out. She's stoked. On the days she's having a bad day, I'm at a high level, and we're able to bring each other, encourage each other. There are some times that, we're both down at the same time. But it's very, very few and far between. And even when that happens, we're still able to encourage one another because the power of two becoming together as one is much more powerful than an individual just trying to make it. Nothing against my single people. Single people get you a dope friend and have a good time. I'm just speaking in the context of marriage right now.
Oh, absolutely. And we do know that we are not, generally speaking, meant to create anything wonderful in isolation, right? So this whole idea of solopreneur, not really. You create a team because that's how you scale. That's how you grow, right? So I love how you address that. And I love that you mentioned that it starts with core values because that's what I believe as well. I'm just kidding. We all want to do a good job as parents. We all want to do a good job with the next generation because we know ours is a little messed up. But we want to make a difference, right? So let's go ahead and start gaining the capabilities and being vulnerable in front of one another and learning how to create a better world for tomorrow, today, right? So thank you so much again, Ivy. I know you have a million things going on, but it has been such a pleasure and such a blessing to have you here. And thank you again.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all have fun.
Now, was that interview as amazing as I promised you it would be? I know it was. Ivy delivered so much value, so many actionable things that you can get started on right now. But before I let you go, I have another invitation for you. I would love to invite you to head on over to marcyamaro.com, where among other things, you can schedule a free 30-minute path paving conversation with me, directly with me. It won't be with other coaches. It won't be with members of my team. It will be directly with me. And during those 30 minutes together, I will get to know you. You will get to know me. We will clarify your goals, your direction, your dreams. We will refine what your message gets to be and how you get to leverage that. And you will leave those 30 minutes with actionable steps that you can start taking to move towards the direction of your dreams. So head on over to marcyamaro.com and schedule your free path paving call. I promise you it will be value filled. It will be the best 30 minutes you've spent in a long time, and you will leave feeling empowered and ready to take on your goals for this year. I hope to see you there. And until next time, this has been Marcy Amaro, and this has been Sincerely Speaking.